Welcome back to another game dev update. Spent some time working on the sub-weapons this week. Mostly just UI related stuff. Making sure the weapon wheel is appropriately displaying every weapon in the correct order and that the player character is actually equipping the correct weapon. Making sure that the ammo bar updates correctly, that the player character's color swaps correctly, making sure that the icon appears correctly. I also spent some time going into the inventory object and updating it. Implementing appropriate descriptions and names for each of the sub-weapons. Honestly, flavor text is a lot of fun to try and come up with. In forcing myself to sit down and draft what types of weapons I think would be cool in this game, I did wind up settling on which types of blueprints I'd like to follow when I actually get to designing these sub-weapons and implementing them. Now for testing purposes, I put in a feature that lets you see how much each weapon would cost and how much damage it would do if the player is using their burning ability. It's basically like choosing to upcast your spell ranks. And for the players who are curious, I'd like to make that information transparent to them. One of the other things that I spent this week working on was the hurt animation. So the player, when in an idle state, will show off whether or not they've taken a significant amount of battle damage. This is only cosmetic, it doesn't actually impede the player or affect their movement. I also implemented the most important feature, which is the ability to cosmetically duck. This actually does nothing, it just lets the player crouch if they so desire. Honestly, if you're not giving the player the ability to do something goofy while nothing else is happening, I don't know what you're doing with your game. Ultimately though, I do need to make sure that this doesn't confuse the player into thinking they can duck under projectiles or attacks. But yeah, that was my progress this week. Thank you all for watching. See you next Saturday.